You know, what's actually interesting is Overwatch League started last weekend, and I actually watched like an hour of it on Sunday. And I'll be honest with you, I was actually pleasantly surprised. I thought the quality went up quite a bit. The desk was good.
Hope all is well.
The addition of Jake is actually very, very nice. So now they have Jake, Reinforce, and Custa, 3 former pros. So they have a lot of like smart analytical talent there for like perma nerds like me. But also just like, it seemed like it was a pretty decent time. It had good viewership too. It had like 100K at one point, which is good. Granted, they had drops, and if it was on Twitch, I still think it probably would have been way higher. But like, honestly, it wasn't that bad. I was very pleasantly surprised. I thought it was pretty good. You can co-stream it now. You can only co-stream it on YouTube. You can't co-stream it on Twitch. And for me personally, to leave Twitch streaming to go to YouTube, it's kind of a pain in the ass. 1, reformatting it is kind of a pain. 2, basically, my Twitch audience is like very different from my YouTube audience. My YouTube audience is a lot more casual, and all my YouTube streamers, like, they've been fine, like they've been good, but the vibe is a little bit different. And on top of that too, it's a little bit more complicated because the pay structure I have with like retro and like editing and stuff like that, if I do YouTube streams, that means that my normal ad rev on YouTube becomes mixed with like memberships and running ads during stream and stuff like that. And so it becomes more aligned. And so what is normally my Twitch money for like me personally becomes then binded with YouTube, and it's a lot harder to differentiate what is just YouTube and like, you know, editing in YouTube, like my YouTube side, and what is my streaming side. So it's a lot harder. Personally, that's why like, for me, if it was on Twitch and I could just flip it on, I would watch like an hour, watch 2 hours, no problem. I'd be fine with that. But yeah, I don't know. I did see something very, very, very interesting. I did see a very interesting Boston tweet. And now everybody knows I do not like Boston that much. We have history. Although it's big corpa, it's not actually players and team. All my stripes with Overwatch League are all big corpa. Although sometimes it's hard for people differentiating like players and casters and stuff like that and big corpa. But basically there was this like rumor that Boston was booming and like jumping off the map in scrims and shit. And so then they won their first 2 games. I don't know if this was after the first game or the second game. But they won their games, and then they kind of mocked everybody for basically saying that they were going to get shit on and winning their first 2 games. And then, like, if I go through replies of this, I'm sure they're a shit show. But they basically have turned themselves into the villain of Overwatch League. And, you know, I kind of respect it. Yeah, I kind of respect it. I think it's kind of needed in a lot of ways. But we've been down this path many times. We've been down this path a few times. Jane is a good example. Jane tried to be the villain of Overwatch League because that's what people wanted, and then basically people just like destroyed him for it. Other teams have kind of done this a little bit. In the past, Dallas and Outlaws had a little thing at one point, then they kind of stopped because people were turned off by their like social media managers' rivalry, and it was like, you're not even the players, like, you guys, you know? And so we've been down this road before. And everyone in the beginning is very much like, yes, we want this. We want more of this. And then once we get like a month into it, everyone's like, no, these guys, and they go bananas. So I hope that doesn't end up going for them. But I will say I was very pleasantly surprised by what this weekend ended up looking like for Overwatch League. And, you know, I know there's a lot of shit still going on. It's not going away. It's not real. Like, Gladiators is still set to shut down after this year if they don't find a buyer, and Gorillas as well on the COD side. And then on COD side, there's a few teams that are trying to, like, looking to merge, and there's the whole Chengdu Hunter situation. But I will say though, it was a promising first weekend, or promising first week for Overwatch League, and hey, hopefully they keep the success going. Hopefully they keep them pumping with drops. Hopefully they keep all that stuff keeps going. I still do hope that they go the COD route and they do multi-platform streaming and go Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, just blast it everywhere if there's not like an already deal that exists. But yeah, it wasn't bad. I don't know, maybe this will be the year that I actually pay a little bit more attention. Who knows? Also, give us ALGS style open comms. If I got to make a perfect esport, 100% I would give open comms like that. If anything, like, there needs to be a compromise. There needs to be a compromise, because I think one of the biggest complaints from people that watch Overwatch League, that aren't turned off by, like, the big corpa side of, like, you know, or just don't like it in general, is most of the people that used to watch it back in 2019 used to love the Twitch dashboard that you could get for Overwatch League. It was awesome. Basically, you could watch any player's POV at any time. And so you had the main broadcast, right? Like, you had, like, the spectator POVs and whatever. But, like, if you're a support player, you wanted to watch support POV, you could watch any of the support players playing in the game from their POV and basically figure out what they're doing mid-game. That was awesome. That was probably one of the most intuitive systems in all of esports. It was great for fans. It was awesome. They lost that when they went to YouTube. I'm not sure if YouTube could replicate something like that, but basically I think it would go a long way if that version could come back in some fashion. I understand the big fears about wanting to bring comms, and, you know, there's a lot of spooky territory in that area, but personally, I think that it would bring a lot of people a lot of attention and, like, wants to watch again, because there's a lot of people that used to watch POVs, you know what I mean? And, like, if they were like, I want to learn tank, then they could watch, you know, like, Kaluja's POV and learn tank, you know what I mean? Like, that stuff was really, really good. So I hope that somehow comes back in some form or fashion. But I will say, it was definitely better. I actually kind of enjoyed it, which is rare, because I hadn't really enjoyed it in a long time. Am I paying attention to Contenders? I haven't paid attention to Contenders in a long time, and Overwatch League as well in a long time, to be honest. But I will say, though, I'm actually very, very happy that they did Contenders on Twitch and gave them drops, because their viewership is like 30,000. That's awesome. Like, that is what it needs. That's the juice that Overwatch League, Contenders, all of that deserves. Or even, actually, that's a good question. Are you allowed to co-stream Contenders now? I think you actually are. I'd have to ask. What is Overwatch Contenders? Think of it as like the D-League for the NBA, or the minors for, like, baseball. Pretty huge W for Contenders. Okay, there is. Okay, it wouldn't be, you know, fair to not say without a reality check, though. There are some small downsides to that. There's mostly good sides, but the only downside to that is you don't know how much of your viewership is inflated. So, for example, when we had drops in going into Overwatch 2, I had no idea what my viewership would look like anymore. Because in, like, August of Overwatch 1, August of this year, I was like a 500 to 700 viewer streamer. And then drops hit, and Overwatch 2 hits, and it's like more like 20,000. And it's like, yeah, but how much of that is actually, like, real people watching? The answer was probably somewhere around 5 to 6. And then that kind of dropped down over after Overwatch 2 launched, and, like, the hype died down to, like, more of like a 3. Now it's more like a 2.5. Now it's, like, settled, right? Because, and I'm talking about Overwatch, because, like, variety's a different number, and that'll fluctuate, because I don't do much variety, and I haven't introduced many people to it. But the drops, though, was good, because it gets a lot of people in, and it gets a lot of people, like, in the door, which is, like, the biggest thing you could do. That's a massive W, but the problem is, though, is, like, when you sell it to sponsors, like, there's going to be conflicting data, and sponsors are getting smarter about that, because, like, they know not all of them are real. So, like, if you go in, like, as, like, a marketing professional for, like, let's say Overwatch League, and you're like, okay, we've been averaging 100,000 viewers recently, we're going to try to sell this to this company on 100,000 viewers, one of two things is going to happen. The company's going to know that it's not actually 100,000 viewers, and they're going to say, no, it's not that, and now you have, like, they're going to conflict. Or two, which is the worst one, if they sell it to a company that doesn't understand that, they will pay the 100,000 price, which is good for Overwatch League. But then what happens after that contract's over is they go, wait a minute, we kind of got scummazed. You know, they told us 100,000, but realistically it's only 40,000. You know what I mean? It's not, that 60,000 is just not even there. They're just AFK. They don't actually get any of the return that they thought they were gonna get, and then they're less inclined to want to do another future deal. So it's good to be like good on both sides, you know, but also you need to get the bag, and so there's a lot of things there. Overall, though, it's actually really good, and I hope that Overwatch League has taken notice, and they go, hey, Contenders is doing really well on Twitch. We should bring that back there and do what Call of Duty League is doing and co-stream it to both. If you really felt like going crazy, go 3. Go YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. Oh my god. Just blast it. Just blast it as many places as you can at this point. Point is, though, I think that Overwatch League is probably at the point where they just kind of just gotta get people back in the door, you know? Get people back in the door, and that would probably be an amazing way to do it. I'm glad that the Contenders is doing well. I think it's showing that what a lot of people's frustrations were of like, come on, you know?